What's going on YouTube? Back here with another video today. Today's video, we're switching it up. We're going to try something a little different, and we're going to be going over the 10 most frequently asked questions that I've seen on either the forums or Facebook groups. Basically the 10 questions I've seen asked the most. These are the questions that have been asked over and over and over again, and I figured why not make a video? That way you guys can use it for reference. Maybe you'll pick something up from it, and if not, whenever you see this question asked on the forums or pages, post this link, refer them to the video, and that way it'll also direct traffic to the channel as well. So win-win. So I figured we'll make this list. I made a post the other night asking what questions y'all have seen the most, and basically this is what I came up with. So, and if this video goes good, maybe we'll make a series out of it. We'll do a running thing with it, and even leave a comment down below on any questions you might have, and I can include those in there as well, and maybe this can be a regular thing. So let's go ahead and dive right into this list, starting with number 10. Oil in the intake track. I have seen this question asked over and over again. Is it normal to have oil here? Showing a picture to the throttle body. Why is there oil in my plenum? Look at this intercooler, it's nasty. Why is there oil in here? And simple question is, it's normal, it's blow by. These engines are getting old by now. Things aren't quite sealing the way they used to, and you're getting oil in your intake track. There's a little bit of blow by. Even on new engines, you will have some blow by. It just happens. But there are ways you can prevent it. I highly suggest deleting the turkey pan. Basically, the line that comes from behind your intake manifold, there is a little nipple there with an elbow and a line that comes up into your PCV, and you can plug and delete that all together, get rid of it, and then run that line to a catch can. JLT makes a really solid unit, but any catch can will be fine as long as it's a catch can for catching oil, and then right back to your plenum. The catch can and the PCV turkey pan mod will be sufficient. It'll eliminate 99% of the oil in your intake. You'll be good to go. You won't have any more oil. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not nearly as much. Like I said, you'd be 99% good. So anyways, that's the end of the 10. Shit. Widest tire on the stock rim. I've seen this asked over and over again, and from what I have compiled and what I've found, 305 seems to be the widest you're going to want to run. If you run any wider, you're going to have a bubble effect. Basically, when you pull the sidewalls in on too small of a wheel, it will just basically make the tire bubble, and you're not going to have the contact patch you want. 305 seems to be what most people go with as far as the widest. 295s are actually the most efficient. I've seen the highest ETs and the highest mile an hour on a 295. 295s are perfect, but 305s work just as well, and they are a little bit bigger if you want that look. So on a street truck, I'd say 305s are pretty good, and I really wouldn't go any wider than that. That's just my personal opinion. Let's move on to the next one. This is number 8. The trick intercooler versus the stock intercooler. I get asked this personally all the time. This is probably the DM that I get the most on Instagram, and it is, what difference did I see from the trick intercooler to the stock intercooler? And basically the answer is roughly 10 degrees. And yeah, that might not seem like a lot for the money, but where the biggest difference you're going to see is consistency. My passes were consistent. When I was doing my tuning passes for Eric Korn, shout out to Eric Korn, my temperatures would never get out of control. They'd go up to where they would go right back down. That intercooler really is good at efficiency and consistency. Yeah, 10 degrees isn't a big deal, but when you can make back-to-back passes and your temperatures never climb or get out of control, I'd say it's worth it for that alone. I mean, like I said, 5 passes back-to-back, never got out of control. Temperatures always went up to the same point and went right back down. So trick intercooler versus stock, I'd say trick intercooler was well worth the money if you can swing it and if you feel like pulling everything apart. If you're not running higher boost and you're not racing the shit out of your truck, maybe it's not worth it, but I'd say it was well worth the money. So anyways, number 7, blower porting. Where can I have my blower ported? Who ports these things, and is it worth it? What are the gains? Question asked all the time. The only answer to that question is Joker's Performance. The dude is a freaking magician with these things. Joker's Performance will have your blower perfect. Customer service is unbeatable. The dude is outstanding. He goes above and beyond to make sure you're happy. and I cannot recommend him enough. Joker's Performance is the only place to send your blower for porting. That dude is the man. He's been around since the beginning. He knows what he's doing. Like I said, customer service is outstanding. Send it to Joker's. Typical gains, I mean, I have no proof because I did so much at once that there's no way I can prove what the port actually did. But from what I've seen, you're looking at about 20 to 30 wheel horsepower and about 20 foot-pounds of torque. Most of that is gained at the curve. Basically, you're not going to see a lot of peak horsepower, but you will see a way better curve and way more horsepower throughout the curve. And that's more important than peak horsepower, in my opinion, because you have more horsepower throughout the entire power range. Definitely a worthwhile mod to do. So don't hesitate, send your blower to Joker's and make that sucker scream. Question number 6, thermostat. What's the best thermostat? What temperature should I go with? What's the coldest? What's stock? Basically, I'm going to answer all those questions real quick. The lowest temperature thermostat you want to run, and this is according to Jim Jr. at JDM, because I talked to him about the same thing. 170 is what he recommended being the lowest. You can do a 180 if you want. OEM is 192. So basically, these trucks came stock with 192. Shouldn't have any cooling problems, and there's really no reason to run lower. But if you do want to run lower, you can do 180, lowest being 170. And yeah, I personally have a 170, and that's because I had heating issues with the built motor and I guess all the heat I'm generating, and I had a lot of problems with the stock radiator keeping up. And that was one of the things I did, was replace the thermostat, put a 170 in it, mission motor radiator. Never had a problem again. Stays right in the 180s, even in the mid of Florida summer. 180s is the highest I see, and I'm happy with that. So that's where my truck's personally at. You guys can choose whatever you want, but the lowest I'd go is 170. That's it. Alright guys, so before we get into the next part of the video, I did want to take one quick second and give a shout out to JC Customs CNC. He is officially sponsoring the channel. Really rad. Probably the coolest sponsor I could ever imagine for this channel. And he makes a lot of cool custom billet CNC parts for our trucks, Lightnings, Harleys, any other platform. If you want it, he can make it. So go check him out. I'll leave a link in the top of the description, and make sure you use code Debtlife for 10% off your order. And it's also going to help support the channel a little bit. Gives me some perks when you use my code. So go check him out. Use code Debtlife, save some cash. He makes all kinds of stuff, like I said, billet adapter plates, billet Gen 2 door handles, EGR deletes. I mean, anything you need made out of billet, he can do it if he doesn't have it already. So sky's the limit, guys. Hit him up, check him out, use my code, and that's it. Not gonna waste any more time. Let's jump back into this video. What do you think number one's gonna be? What do you think the most commonly asked question is? Think about it while we go through this list. Number 5. Question number 5, and this question is completely subjective to opinion, of course, but what's the best cold air intake for these trucks? My opinion, JLP. JLP is the truest cold air intake. It comes fully enclosed with the box, has some room it can breathe up top as well with the lid, and then it also breathes through the end where the stock location pulls air, and has the ram air scoop if you get the ram air kit. Highly suggest doing so. You don't have to do what I did and tie it to the fog light or anything fancy. It comes with a scoop that you can either mount in the grill or right where the heat exchanger is. Either one's fine, but it creates a nice little ram air effect of cold air from the outside. And when I'm cruising, anything 20 or above, and my temperature is right at ambient, which is as good as you can get. It's hard to cool it below ambient unless you got like a killer chiller. But intake wise, JLP is the only true cold air intake for these trucks, and the one I chose also looks really clean, so I like it. Only con is it does not come with an elbow, and it is pretty pricey. So you're gonna have to source your own elbow. They do sell a thunder tube, but it's separate and really pricey. I personally run a CNL elbow, really hard to find, but I mean, you can, options are limitless. Just buy one used. You can run the stock OEM rubber elbow. Don't really suggest it though. I mean, I'd at least run like a K&N elbow if you can find a used K&N elbow. Steal that, get a CNL, get the thunder tube, but that's the only con. Doesn't come with an elbow. It's just the box and the filter, but it does come with the ram air kit if you get that, and I do suggest that. So JLP got my vote for the intake. Of course, subjective to opinion. Many other intakes work just fine, That's just my opinion. Question number 4. Now I see this question all the time, and it's, what pulley should I run for my truck? Should I do an upper? Should I do a lower? What size pulley is the best? And my answer to that is, it depends what you're looking for. I picked the 5-pound lower that JLP makes because it's in the middle of what most people do. Most people do either a 4 to stay on the safe side, or a 6-pound lower to be a little more on the aggressive side. 6 pounds probably the most I would do on a stock block, and it still is a little on the aggressive side. With a safe tune, should be fine. People do it all day long, but I took the middle ground and did a 5 between safe and aggressive, right down the middle. JLP makes 5-pound lower, and my truck ran that way for years just fine, no issues. I actually ran a 12.7 with the 5-pound lower, intake, exhaust, and big old heavy 22. So I choose 5-pound lower personally. You can do 4 or 6, like I said. Just make sure if you do pulley up, I would highly suggest upgrading the MAF. With my 5-pounder, I was still right on the edge of pegging out the stock MAF, and it's the 90mm one at that. Earlier trucks came with the 80mm MAF, and you will peg it. And if you peg the MAF, say goodbye to your stock block. You don't want to do that. It's well worth it to just sink the money, get an upgraded MAF, have it tuned properly for the boost, and then you can enjoy it for years to come. So don't cheap out, do it right. But anyways, that's it for that. Question number 3, we're getting up there. What coil packs to run? I see this question a lot. What coil packs are y'all running? I don't know what coil packs to do. Which coil packs are good for high horsepower? Simple answer, OEM Motorcraft. Fine, 9-second trucks run these coil packs. The OEM Motorcraft coil packs are money for these trucks. They're perfectly fine. You can make easily, 800-900 horsepower on them. No issues at all. The coil packs are by no means a weak link on these trucks, and Motorcraft OEM is the way to go. Just make sure they're actually Motorcraft. There's a lot of knockoffs out there, and you don't want a knockoff coil pack because that can cause problems. I've seen a lot of people have problems thinking they get Motorcraft, get some Chinese bullshit, and their truck runs like shit. So, alright, question number 2. What spark plugs and what's a gap them at? This is another frequently asked question, and it kind of goes with the last one, but I've seen this question asked a lot. And it's what spark plugs, what gap to run, etc. And basically, on a stock truck, you're just going to want to stick with the stock SP471 Motorcraft plugs, gapped at 0.44. That's plenty for a stock truck, and that'll be just fine. Now, if you have any kind of pulley, 4-pounder, 6-pounder, etc., NGK TR6s seem to be the way to go. Gapping is going to vary. I would ask whoever's going to do the tuning on the truck, and you're going to need a tune, so hopefully someone's doing tuning on the truck. But I would ask whoever's doing the tuning what they suggest the gap to be. A lot of people run anywhere from 0.28 to 0.32. 0.32 being most common. I did have to gap mine down to 0.28 when I had a lighter pulley setup because I had some spark plug blowout. So it's going to depend on the truck, the tuner, etc. But NGK TR6s seem to be solid. They've been the way to go and pretty much the go-to for forever. If you're running higher boosts like I am, I'm running the 10-pound lower and 2.7 upper. Any kind of higher boost, I think anything over a 6-pound pulley, I would go ahead and step it down 1 step colder, even than the TR6s, which are already a step colder than stock, to the NGK BR7 EFs. And I would gap those at 0.28. They should come 0.28 out of the boxes, if I remember correctly. But, so stock truck, Motorcraft plugs, pulley 4 to 6 pound, I do the TR6s. Anything over 6 pound, any more boost than that, and I do the BR7 EFs. So that's that. And now we're finally there. The most frequently asked question that I've seen over and over and over again. What oil should I run? What oil are you guys running? What oil should I put in this thing? Canola. Canola oil. How about that? No. But basically, 5W20 is what Ford recommended. And a lot of people in the comments, I'm sure, are going to be, but Sean, now it's because of emissions, Sean. They only did that for emissions. I recommend 520, same as Ford did. That's what Jim Jr. at JDM recommends, as well as several other knowledgeable people that I've talked to. Yes, you can run 1030 if you want, See a lot of people run 1030 as well. I personally choose to go with what my engine builder says. JDM Engineering built the motor. They should know what they're talking about and what their parts like. They say 520, so that's what I picked. They put 520 in all their trucks. That's what they recommend. The passageways are very narrow in these mod motors, especially the 5.42 valves. And if you put too thick of an oil, you will starve the heads for oil, especially on first startup. It's going to cause extra wear on your motor for no reason. So I choose to stick with 520. You can do 1030 as well. I've seen people do 1030, but like I said, personally 520. I do Motorcraft semi-synthetic as well. That's also what Jim at JDM recommends. And if you want to go with, if you have a built motor, ask your builder what they recommend. Ask someone you trust what they recommend. Eric Korn is also very knowledgeable. Ask him what he recommends if you want. Whoever's doing the tuning, whatever. Ask whoever you want. Run what you feel comfortable with. I feel comfortable with 520. That seems to be a pretty good general consensus of what I would, at least 80% of people run on these trucks is what Ford recommended, 520. And that's because of the narrow passageways. Could it have something to do with emissions? I'm sure. I wouldn't doubt it. They do a lot of stupid shit for emissions on these things. Oil thickness, the EGR shit that we always all delete out of there, and if you haven't done it, highly suggest it. Makes plug changes a breeze. Delete that sucker. Get rid of it. But yeah, could have been emissions, but I stick with 520. Can't hurt. Thing's been running fine. A lot of people run 520, hundreds of thousands of miles, no issue. That's the oil I choose. And as far as the brand type, you can go with Motorcraft or any good semi-synthetic, really. AMSOIL, full synthetic mobile one. I mean, any good quality full synthetic's gonna be fine. I mean, oil type, you know, it's way too subject to opinion. I go with Motorcraft because Jim told me that's what he recommends. He's my engine builder, so that's who I'm trusting. But anyways, guys, what did you think of this video? Make sure you leave a thumbs up. Let me know. That's going to tell me if this video was received well or not, and if we should do more of them. Leave comments down below if you have any questions for the next video, and basically I'll go through the comments, compile another list, we'll do another video. We can turn this into a whole series. Maybe this can be a thing. So hopefully I get enough questions to do another video. If not, I can always scour through the forums, and I'm sure people will ask more questions, and just keep your eye out. If you see a lot of questions asked on the forums that I didn't cover here, leave it down below and let me know. Of course, thumbs up. Let's see how many thumbs up we get, and if this receives well. If this video sucked or was too boring, thumbs down it so I know. I mean, I can only go off your guys' feedback. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Go down there and subscribe to the channel for more. We do plenty of lightning and race truck content. We're gonna get into these other builds we got sometime eventually, maybe. But anyways, lots of content coming for you guys, so stay tuned. That's gonna be it for this video. We'll see y'all next time.